What is up, everybody? How are we all doing tonight? I will apologize for last night. Was not meant to end up the way it did, but we learned some things. I found out I had my camera hooked up incorrectly, and so that caused our recording to be playing over my speakers, and so my microphone was also picking up Joe's audio, and big mess. So our audio sounded like crap last night, but we figured it out. It will be better next time. I'm doing well. It was a rough day, I'm not going to lie. I had a lot on my mind. Just the noise was very loud today, let's put it that way. But we're here. I feel a lot better. I was again looking forward to hanging out with everybody tonight, and yeah, I've got a couple things to talk about and see how y'all are doing. So, how are you, Brad? Good to see you. Been a long, long time. Yes, it has been about 20 years. I think we got our 20 years coming up this summer, isn't it? I think I was just starting to see some posts about it. Crazy, crazy to look back and think on. Boy, how, yeah, that's insane. The amount of time we spent getting through school is now the amount of time that has passed since we've been in school. Goodness. So, what have you been up to? Week staycation, huh? Nice. Little mental break. You just chilling around the house, getting some things done, or hanging with family? What are you up to? Awesome, man. That is awesome to hear. Daughters are a blessing and a curse, aren't they? There you go. Fishing is good for the soul. My boat is currently not operable. I got stuck out on the Grand River last summer. I got almost to Spring Lake from the boat launch that's by my house, and motor died. So I had to troll motor all the way back. It took me about 4 hours. And yeah, trying to figure all that out now. So my boat is not operable right now. Not doing any fishing at the moment, but hope to be soon. Oh, it's so relaxing. So nice to just sit out. Peaceful morning. Nobody else is around. Water's nice and calm. Sun's coming up. Beautiful. That is one of my favorite things to do. For sure. Before we chat too much more, I do want to talk a little bit about the topic I guess I'm going to be talking about tonight. I was going to actually, if you guys haven't signed up for our newsletter yet, make sure you do. Our first one came out on Monday, and this was going to be something I included in there. Something else made it instead. So we'll talk about it tonight, but just wanted to talk about the importance of planning and preparing for whatever. Whatever it is you have to do, an interview, a meeting, presentation, could be coaching a team, whatever it is that you have to do. Maybe it's getting out fishing, but planning and preparing for whatever it is you're going to be doing is super important. I learned that a little bit better last week. It's something I've kind of always taken pride in, I guess. Planning, preparing, and being ready for anything that's going to be thrown at me. But I did kind of learn a lesson last week about planning and preparing, and just wanted to talk a little bit more about it. Oh, yeah, at least I had my trolling motor to back me up. I wasn't just stuck with some oars, but yeah, I was way, way upriver. It took me 4 hours to get back to the boat launch. And I had trolling motor cranked full speed, and I was going about a mile and a half. Current going the other way too, so that didn't much help. But good evening, Jen. How are you? Good to see you. That's the one difficult thing about these live videos. It's hard to converse with people because I am on somewhat of a delay. So by the time I see your comments, it's already been a few seconds before you even hear my response. So I sit here in silence waiting to be able to converse with people. It's really, really awkward. Well, we've got a topic tonight that you'll probably enjoy. I'm going to talk a little bit about planning and preparing for whatever. Brad mentioned he's fishing. What different ways could you or should you prepare for fishing, Brad? Jen, I know this is something you take pride in as well, being able to answer any question thrown at you. Yeah, yesterday's silliness was exactly that silliness. I put a message up there. I was going to delete that video because it was just a complete mess up, but I said, screw it. We make mistakes, we learn, we grow. You guys got to know what it's all about. Here's us learning and growing. We can look back and laugh on it, whatever. Good times. We learned our lesson. I now know how to properly set everything up so we don't have those problems. Hopefully, again, I can say that all I want, but something's going to happen. Ooh, there you go. Yep, watch the weather. That's a good one. I do that before hunting as well. Hunting, and there's a few different things I can watch for hunting to know what days might be best for me to take off. That's a good one. Going through your fishing poles, checking all your line, making sure there's no nicks in it, retying your hooks, your lures, whatever. Might have fought a fish the last time and there might be some nicks in that line, so just making sure it's not going to break off on that first big one you hook into. That's always a good way to prepare. Depending on where you're going, and this is something for hunting as well, letting people know where you're going. That's a way you can prepare. That way, if something happens, they know where to look for you. Like a motor dying, and if I would have needed somebody to pick me up, I would have at least known where to send them. Yep, Brad, that's exactly, yep. Great minds think alike. Tasks. What do you mean, tasks? I've always used planning and preparing and caused a lot of preparation tasks. Why am I? I'm not understanding. Help me understand, please. Or are you saying put a list of preparation tasks together? Ah, now I see. Got it. We all have them. They sometimes become routine. Yep. The things we do to get ready for different things. Yep. Yeah, you probably have a morning routine of sorts, some kind, whether that's slump out of bed, rush to the coffee pot, get some coffee, throw food together, and get to work, or if you have something more elaborate, kind of like I might have. Yeah, that's another way to prepare for your day. But I've enjoyed planning and preparing. And like I was saying, I rub a lot of people the wrong way while preparing for things because I guess I kind of play devil's advocate. I, most of the time I know when to draw the line. I do have my issues where I like to make sure everything I've exhausted all possible outcomes. So I'm prepared to handle anything that's thrown at me. And I can take that to an extreme sometimes, but for the most part, I know where to push it. And people don't like being challenged. They think they've done as good a job as they can, and maybe they have. They just don't look at it from certain angles, but it's still a challenge to their ego when you ask them these questions. And so it's rubbed people wrong in the past. I've had to figure out how to deal with that, and it's just finding better ways to answer questions. But yeah, the planning and preparation you put into something beforehand gives you that much more opportunity to handle whatever is thrown your way. Questions, problems, issues, whatever might come up, you have analyzed each outcome or tried to analyze as many different outcomes or questions that might be thrown at you. And so you're able to handle that. And even if it's not something you specifically prepared for, your general planning, that time you put into whatever, is going to make you that much more able to handle that question when it's asked. That is something I take pride in, and kind of leads into the asking why that we were talking about yesterday, and we'll talk more about next week. But just being able to handle whatever is thrown at you and not stress about it. That might be the kicker. Is yes, you might have to figure some things out, but you're not stressed about it. It's not chaos for you because you're ready. Hell yeah, Brad. Good for you. 15 pounds, that's ain't no slouch. Good job. Planning foods for the day is a big one. Yes, that goes for just about anybody. Even we've found that planning the meals for the week, like just dinners, having that discussion ahead of time, for one, helps cut down on the grocery bill because we're not just buying whatever crap is in front of us to fill up the cart so we have food at home. But then when the day comes around, we're not sitting there till 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock asking each other what we want for dinner, not having a clue and scrambling for some shit that's in the cupboard, fridge, whatever, because it's late and we don't have anything else planned. So yeah, that's planning and preparing meals ahead of time. That's a good one. Waiting for coffee is silly. Yeah, I don't crash in the afternoon anymore though. I wait. I don't know that I've gone just 60 minutes. I push it to a minimum of 90 minutes before I get my first cup of coffee. But it really does that 2, 3 o'clock where I would always just be exhausted. And even at working with you, I'd get home and I'd want to take a nap every single day. I'd get up at the same time as I did, and I don't feel like that anymore. Hey, to each their own. I'd encourage you to try it, but I've tried the mushroom coffee. I can't remember what kind I have. It's not bad. It just tasted like instant coffee. Didn't really notice anything too crazy with it, but it is decent. I've tried some tea. Tea's a little bit lower in caffeine and a little more gentle than coffee too. But man, I like my coffee. It tastes so good. I've been enjoying my iced coffees, or I guess cold brew. I got pot to make cold brew in, and I've been doing that quite a bit lately. I really like my cold brew coffee in the morning. I don't know, it's just been nicer than the hot cup of coffee. Oh, no kidding. I don't think I've even seen that on a commercial yet. I happened into it at the Health Hut. They're checking some other stuff out. So, planning. Yes, we'll get away from the coffee for a minute. Back to the planning, sorry. Yeah, last week I had to get ready for the Monday night live stream, and while doing different research and thinking about different things, it gave me more and more and more to talk about, and went from only a couple things to say till I had 2 pages that I ended up writing out. Another part of planning, I found I was getting the newsletter together. I found I actually enjoyed writing the newsletter. It was almost like kind of just journaling for me, I guess. But I enjoyed planning and preparing for the newsletter. So it's interesting the different things you find you enjoy when you plan for different things as well. Planning gets you to learn a lot. Like asking why. Why you might have to ask why in order to plan for something. Why do we have to do it like this? Why can't we do it like this? And it could be in meetings before the launch of something, whatever, and it's just a different angle that somebody hasn't looked at. But you do challenge their ego. What's a way you plan, Jen, for anything? Could be one of your trips. Could be something at work. How do you plan? Maybe your day. Anybody else got special ways that they plan something? Or like Jen mentioned, preparation tasks. Anybody have any cheat codes that they found might be helpful to other people? Why is my cheat code? Did just throw up a link for the newsletter. We did send out our first newsletter this last Monday. It took me a little while to figure everything out, so I don't think it got out till almost 7 o'clock, but called The Growth and Go. Just a quick read. We give a lesson learned from the last week, a positive affirmation for the week ahead, something for you to write down, put on your mirror, maybe next to your bed, whatever, just something for you to look at each and every single day and bring some positivity into your life. And then we just give a little update on the things that are going on with the Mapes Mindset. We shared some pictures that we were taking last week for different social media or website or whatever, but friend of Joe's actually is a photographer, and he offered to do some pictures for us, so we took him up on that and laughed way too much. But we talked about that and some of the different updates to the site and groups and stuff. But yeah, if you would like to sign up for that, the link should be on the screen now, or head on over to join2brothers.com. Click on the sign up there up at the top and give us your email, and we'll get that out to you each and every Monday. I like that, Brad. That is a very good or very important thing to note. The way you framed that, it is exactly it. We don't fail. We screw up and we learn and we move on. It's exactly it. They're opportunities, chances for solutions, just like you said. That was very, very well put. My cheat code for planning. My cheat code is just like I said. It seriously is asking why and just exhausting until I feel well enough prepared and I feel I've fulfilled all the questions I have. I just ask questions. I'm not afraid to ask questions. Proper preparation prevents poor performance, I think is the one of the famous sayings or something like that. But yes, proper planning leads to knowledge growth. That is exactly it. It forces you to ask questions. If you're going to plan for something, you're going to ask questions. You're going to look for different solutions. That's another thing. Look at planning trips. If you don't plan, you just show up somewhere, you're going to book the first place you get. It might not be the cheapest or even the best option. Maybe it's not even necessarily about price. It just might be some dump that you end up in because you don't know any other options. But if you take the time to plan and look and see where you're going, you can pick what's best suited for you. Yes, proper planning prevents poor performance. Whew, say that too fast. Brad, what are some different ways that you prepare for a project or you plan for different projects? Do you hold meetings beforehand? Do you hold meetings beforehand with your team and go over anything? Do you take input from your team before you launch something? I think that's something that's important. Anybody that leads a team or is in charge of anybody, deals with anybody else, get feedback when planning for something. That's awesome, Brad. And that's exactly how you should be handling it. You're empowering your team to better handle the issues in the future. And I will bet as your teams grow and learn, they probably call you less and less and less, and you have nothing to do. That's exactly how it should be. Our goal is to, as a leader, is to get yourself replaced. Or, yeah, you're trying to build your replacement. Not that it will ever happen, but that's what your goal is. You're empowering your team around you in order to get them to be able to handle anything that's thrown at them. Spot on, Jen. Spot on. That is critical when planning for something. Get input. Unless it's something you're doing on your own, if you're doing it with anybody else, don't just tell them what's going on. Get their input, get their feedback, and use it. Whether it's planning a family event or doing a task at work, use the feedback and advice given to you from the people around you. They more than likely know better than you do. Same thing with your family. If you're taking them on a vacation and you don't ask some of them what they want to do, chances are they're going to have a crappy time and not enjoy it and not want to keep doing these things with you. And as a family, that's not what you want. It's important to get your team's feedback. That team could be your children, your spouse, it could be your coworkers. Regardless, like Jen said, it is very important to get your team's feedback. Improvement, growth, learning, knowledge sharing. Knowledge sharing is huge to growth. Okay, so a way for you to plan was to just observe, is what you're saying, Jen. You observed for a couple of weeks to figure out what the issues were, and then that And while you're sitting there observing, you're also able to go, okay, I start to see strengths, I start to see weaknesses, and these are things I can do. So you're planning and preparing while observing. That's good. Nice. I like that, Brad. How can you how could you automate that more to reduce the burden on you? Yep, exactly. Yeah, you start to learn your crew's, your team's strengths and weaknesses, and you're kind of able to predict what they're going to run into. A lot of times, it's pretty crazy how that starts to happen. It's it's so much fun. Leading teams is so much fun. Getting to know their quirks and how to motivate them, and it's God, it's so much fun. Spurring that the mindset that you have and getting other people to adopt it and and not be forced to do it, but for them to want to do it. So rewarding. That is another challenge to only having one person. It's hard to read comments and keep commentary going. I can't read and talk at the same time. That's almost impossible. Yes, celebrating. Celebrating wins, no matter how big or small they are, is very, very important. The team needs to know you've got their back. Val, how are you? Brad, in case you missed it, I did ask. I don't know if there's any ways you could automate that, but just posing the question to you. If you're having to check in with your teams every single morning, is there a checklist maybe or some way for you to automate that so you don't have to spend that time checking in on them? They kind of check in with you in a sense, or you already have something prepared for them to just say, "Here you go." You don't even have to talk to them. You don't even have to see them if you don't want to. Oh, I miss you guys, Val. That is one of the nice things about these things is I can get on and hang out with you guys a little bit. See some of the people I haven't, well, see some of the people I haven't seen in a while. I do look forward to getting on. TPM. Yes. Yes, yes, TPM. What is that to you? I got you, Brad. Can so let me ask you this then, Brad. Whose burden is it to check in? Is it your team's responsibility to come to you and say, "Hey, I've got everything I need. I'm ready to go. I'm going to head out," or do you have to go to them? That may be one way to change that dynamic and further empower your team and take some of that load off of you. Flip it to them and just tell them, "Hey, I'm going to be in my office or wherever. You guys come to me, tell me what you need. Otherwise, if I don't hear from you, we're good to go." And I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't seen with my own two eyes how everything runs for you. So I'm just kind of blindly asking the question. Like I said, I like to do. I like to ask questions and learn and understand. Gotcha. So you have to do it. That makes sense. Okay. Like I said, just thinking outside the box, trying to see if there's a way to lessen your burden. It's nice to automate those kinds of tasks and not have to spend the time to do it and just know that your team is doing what needs to be done. All right, Jen, I've got to ask you, what is this? Okay, is management and maintenance, is that interchangeable? I'm getting a little confused. That is true. If you're building a strong team and an empowered team, they will start to know what is expected of them, and your burden will be less and less. You're still going to check in, you're going to do your walk by, stop, talk to a few people, but it's going to be so routine and everybody's going to know exactly what's expected of them. Yeah, it doesn't probably take you much time at all. Okay, I guess I've seen it both ways, and I swear Toyota calls it maintenance, but regardless. So yeah, just the idea that the entire organization is involved in building and fixing, right? Okay. Because yeah, the way the way we were using it was for maintenance, and it was everybody's kind of responsible for the maintenance of the equipment type of deal. So okay, that makes sense then. That makes sense then. Expanding it to all departments and just yeah, it's empowering your dang team. I got it. I understand now, Jen. But yeah, it's that's no different than empowering your dang team. If you empower your team and build respect, you don't need to do any of that because everybody wants to do their job. Like I don't know if anybody watches sports, knows the New England Patriots, their famous saying was do your job. Everybody wants to do your job when you have a good team. I've had plenty of days like that. For one, depending on where you're at with your team, if you have a strong team, I had very good relationships with my team and open, honest conversations with my team. If I was having an off day, I'd tell them, guys, it's a rough one today. Bear with me. I'm going to do the best I can. And most of the time, my team would step up. My team would pick me up and give me the motivation I needed to get my day back on track. And then after a little bit of time, it was done and over with. So if you build that strong team, that strong relationship, you guys will pick each other up and you want that. It feels good to have your team pick you up. You spend a lot of your time picking your team up around you. People are falling down all the time and it's up to you to build them back up. It's okay for you to rely on them every once in a while for that. Yup. Ain't no shame. If I'm having a bad day, you guys would do the same thing. And I'd do what I could to get the burden off you guys. Or if it's just other days where something would happen and I could notice it and notice you were off, I'd do what I could to help out or see if you guys are overwhelmed. And it worked both ways. You guys would keep an eye out for me. I would keep an eye out for you. And it was awesome. The other thing you've got to do is just self-talk. You know that's not a healthy mind space to be in. And it's your, wow, it is your responsibility. There's the word, responsibility to get out of that headspace. I actually posted a little video on our Instagram and Facebook story today about kind of this same thing. I told you at the beginning when we first got on, noise was loud today. I dealt with a lot of shit going through my head. One of the things is one of our dogs he's been throwing up for 3 days now, super anxious, like just not acting himself at all. And a lot of stuff going on, and I have to take him to the vet today. And that's, what are we looking at? Anywhere from $2,000 to $1,000. We have no clue before I take him into the vet. So just all of these things overwhelming me today, invading my head, and I felt it as soon as I woke up. I remember one of the first things I said to my wife this morning was, looks like today's going to be my day. But I'm not going to let that happen. And she asked me what's going on. I said, it's a lot of shit today. Fear of failure, fear of letting people down. I mean, you name it, I'm dealing with it today on top of the dog crap. So all of that is closing in on me, but I can't let it. I have stuff to get done. I have things I need to do. I have to shut that down, and I know it's not true. So I just, exactly that. Shit's not true. It's going to stop. I'm not going to let it run me. I'm going to own this. I got this. I don't need this. It's not going to happen. Not going to get me today. So that's one of the other ways is I self-talk, and I'll go as far as calling myself a bitch if I have to. And just, come on, you can do this. You're not that big of a pussy. Pull your pants on, get your ass going. You got this. So those are a couple of the ways that I deal with something like that. So they try to pick you up too then? Am I understanding that correctly? Sounds like they try to boost your spirit a little bit and just kind of horse around and mess with you. That's awesome. M or C? Yeah, that's awesome, Brad. So yeah, you're building a very strong, good team there. They've got your back, you've got theirs. That's exactly what you want. Oh, C. Gotcha. C. Mig's doing good. Cannon's, I don't know. He got some anti-nausea meds. He finally ate some food. He hadn't eaten in 3 days, and everything came right back up. So he's finally doing good. Yeah, got some nausea medicine, antacid medicine, a couple other things. Got him some fluids. So yeah, this afternoon he's pretty much just laid around ever since I got home from the vet with him. All the shots and everything. And I think like he's already got anxiety kind of bad, and just with him not feeling good, he was a mess. So yeah, I think he's just finally settled down and whooped. He hasn't much moved. You can pull him and he doesn't even care right now. So yeah, hopefully he's doing better though. Poor little guy. But yeah, back to Brad's question, or what he had asked. Self-talk is big for me. I can spend a lot of time in my head, And if I let the negativity win, it's not going to be good. And I have plenty of days, not even going to say plenty. I have moments where I get into that negative headspace and it can wreck me. It will wreck me for days, sometimes longer if I let it, depending on the level of messed up I am. But self-talk is probably the biggest way for me to pull out of that. Positive affirmations, reaffirming that I'm not the thoughts I'm thinking I am, or whatever else it might be. It's your responsibility to keep that negativity out. It's not easy, but it is that simple. It's a saying I've been using quite often lately, even for myself. I get stuck on things and it's not easy for me to figure out what I need to do, but it is simple. I just need to take a step. Start looking, doing a little bit of research. Wes is on? Brad, I don't know. I'm going to throw up the link for the newsletter again. If you're not signed up for it, get signed up. Every single week, every Monday, I'll be sending out that newsletter. And one of the things I'm going to do is a weekly positive affirmation, just something for you to either write on a notepad, put next to your bed, a sticky note, put on your mirror, whatever it is. You just use that positive affirmation each and every day, and then every Monday we'll get you a new one in your inbox. So sign up for that newsletter. The link should be on your screen now. Wes, Preston, how you boys doing? Good to see you guys. Well, then I will at least share the link in the chat so you guys got that. It's supposed to be on the screen right now. Is it not on the screen? Stupid thing. Yeah, miss you too, man. There was a good crew at Shape when we were all there. You're getting them all? All right. So I'm doing something right. Yeah, anybody just joining on, posted a link in the chat, or it should be on your screen right now, for the Mapes Mindset newsletter called the Growth and Go. We will be sending that out every Monday. It's just going to be short lesson learned from one of us over the past week. There will be a weekly positive affirmation for you to use, and then just general updates, anything going on with us here at the Mapes Mindset. We were talking about positive affirmations and using self-talk, positive self-talk, to pull you out of negative headspace. Could be depression, could just be a bad off day. Brad had asked how do you get your head straight before getting into working with a team or heading into work and having to deal with the day ahead? How do you pull out of that? Talked about, like I said, the self-talk, and one of the other things I said was if you build those strong teams and have a good people around you, use them to pick you up. You've been picking them up. You can rely on them to pick you up. And yes, we were also talking about planning. Planning and the importance of it in order to prevent unknown issues from happening, and the opportunities that planning itself can provide for learning. It's got me talking too much. What are some other ways you guys plan for different things? We've talked about, Brad was talking about planning for fishing. We've talked about planning at work. Talked about planning your day before work, talking to your crews. We've talked planning vacations. Okay, touche. It's like having a conversation with people, but it's not. I'm just in here talking to myself in my dark basement. With all my friends. You guys got any other topics you'd like to see us talk about on some of these lives? Otherwise, we're just going to talk at you about what we want to talk about. And we want to help you guys as much as possible. So if you've got any topics, questions, anything, please fire away. We can talk about it now if we get a chance, or save them for another night. And Joe will be on most Mondays. He has switched his schedule around to free his Monday nights up so we can be doing those lives together. Last night was a disaster, and this is me salvaging it tonight as best I can. Last night we were going to talk about the power of why, but we decided to save that topic for when we can both get together. He moved his Monday to Tuesdays, so when I rescheduled last night's for tonight, he wasn't able to join, but we had a good discussion going and wanted to save it for next week, so I jumped on tonight to talk about planning. We've had a very good discussion. Yes, Jen, I see your why comment. I saw it as soon as it popped up and why I got the grin on my face. Why what? To what part? See, that's the problem with this delay. I don't know why you're asking. Wes Hire back. No, you don't want that. Do ya? What are you up to these days, Preston? How are you? What are some other things you guys plan for, or different ways to plan? I've started to use my calendar in my phone a little bit. Helps keep me on task and forgetting critical things that need to be done. I've tried those productivity apps. There was ClickUp or something like that I've tried. I don't know, I'd prefer writing it down. It's just easier for me. I don't have to make sure I've got my phone on me all the time, and been finding it easier to just set my phone down and not have it with me, and so I don't want to use it like that. I don't know. It's just not for me. Family calendar. Yes, we've used those too. Sports gets very chaotic. Sports with practices and games, and then you got multiple kids. Yep, family calendars. Do you do chores or anything on there, or is it just like different events you guys have going on? Hell yeah, Preston. Good for you. Running a CNC, huh? That's different. You learning how to program too then? Good for you, man. About to buy a house too. That's awesome. Events, okay. I think Joe, I believe I've seen it before because I've messed with it and pissed his kids off. But he's got a kind of a chore calendar, I guess you can call it, for each day of the week. And kids have different things on it for each day and they just rotate. But I like to. I messed with it one day and I had Arya in tears, pissed her off for the whole night. Oh, kids, gotta love them. I think I just inherited that little bully, uh, what do you even want to call it, trait from being the older brother. I just pick on everybody. It don't matter who you are. Tiff gets picked on all the time. Jen gets it about worse than anybody. Jen's the youngest. But yeah, I like picking on people. Learning to set up tools. Nice. What kind of CNC is it? And they're going to send you to school. Hell yes, Preston. Good for you. That's awesome. Programming, it's no joke, man. You can do a lot of things with that. She had to do the toilet. No, Jay likes cleaning the bathroom. It's weird. You do pick back. Jen picks back too. The other, not you, Jen. The other Jen. Sorry, my Jen. Not you, Jen. I pick a lot on my Jen. A lot. But man, it has turned her ruthless. I started picking on her at too young of an age, and she learned way too good. Man. I don't remember what I wrote on there. I think it was something like the toilet, or I don't know. It gave her all of Colt's chores or something like that, and she was pissed. I can understand that, Preston. There is a lot of fun to that side. There's also a lot of bullshit. Things you don't want to deal with. Suckiness. Yeah, no, don't tell Jen good job. She is way too quick-witted. She, man, she has some zingers. She got me a couple of times. I have no response. Exactly, Brad. Yes, be very careful what you create. They are vicious too. Girls especially, man. Whew. She is. She is good. She is quick too. Yeah. Luckily I can still get her with some of the jokes and get her with things she doesn't quite yet understand. And so that just makes her go, huh? And I can just laugh at her and move on. But one day it's going to bite me in the ass, and I'm not looking forward to that. I'm going to be in tears, fetal position in the corner, sobbing for my mom or something. Trying to see if I've got. Really, the only other point about planning that I had written down. Sorry to cut in and out, but look for those moments of silence to cut back in. But the only other thing that I had noted about planning is if you plan, chances are the bad, the chaos, the negative won't happen. But if you don't plan for it, something will happen that you were not ready for, and it may not be that big, but because you were not ready for it, things are going to go to shit. So, moral of the story, it's better to plan and prepare for whatever it is you're going to do. That way, when something unexpected does happen, you can handle it. It's going to make your life 10 times easier, going to reduce a bunch of stress, remove a lot of stress from your life, simply because you won't have to worry about what might happen. Those thoughts will be gone because you are ready. Yes, when she realizes I am very screwed. Yeah, you're going to be in for it. Wait till she starts getting older. She going to throw you for a loop, man. And they don't, excuse me, they don't pull punches. If you've taught them well, whew, they can be heartless. 9, yep. Gen 16. Give her 12, 13, she'll really start coming into her own, and then as she gets older, she learns more and more, and man, we're lucky Jen still just only uses F, A, B. She doesn't curse yet. I don't think sometimes I'd be able to keep a straight face if she started dropping F-bombs with some of the stuff she said. Oh, good Lord. Asked you guys a little bit ago if you had any questions or topics, thoughts for some of these live streams coming up. There it is. Got a little pop-up thrown up for you guys. That way it's not left in the comments for me to track down. If you guys have something you'd like us to talk about, go ahead and throw it in there now. Would love to hear from you. I think I've got these scheduled now through August. We plan to be on every Monday at 9, just talking about a different topic, getting on, building a community of people who want to build a better mindset. $1900s. Unfortunately, she's right. Oh, God. Sucks when they're right, too. Sucks when you realize you're getting old. I heard somebody was talking the other day, and they were complaining about being 36, and I looked, I'm like, man, I'm older than them. Overcoming negative headspace. Good one. Noted. And we talked a little bit, gave a couple of pointers for that, but we can definitely explore that topic further. I'd be curious to hear what Joe has to say about that as well. In case anybody's wondering, if you've been paying attention, we've shut the podcast down for a little while. We are working on getting it going again, working through video and different technical issues, trying to resolve the things before we do this again. But this is one of the ways we are staying interactive and still discussing different topics each and every week with you guys. So make sure to join along with all of these live streams on these Mondays. Just our way to kind of keep the podcast going for now. I know, it's crazy to think about. What's even crazier to think about, and I saw a post or something like that a while back, it really hit me and made me think. I can't remember exactly how it went, but something along the lines of, you don't realize it until you're older, but your parents were growing up right alongside of you. And man, that hit me so damn hard. Holy crap. I didn't even you don't think about that, but looking back, being 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, knowing what I'm going through with our kids and everything we're dealing with, and then thinking about them and going, holy shit, they didn't have a clue what was going on. And they were 5 of us. Like, holy hell. I can't imagine what they were dealing with and going through and the conversations they had and whew. Yeah, something like that. And there's sayings about the first child and the second child and beyond that too. And those ones, they all hit me and made me realize, like, damn, yeah, I held my parents or kind of put them on this pedestal, and not that they didn't deserve it, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing, just like we don't. We're all freaking learning. Exactly, Brad. I could not have said it better myself. That is spot on. Yeah, it makes you appreciate everything that much more. Yeah. Second child's got it easy. But yeah, the first child, something about they grow up together or something like that. Just super interesting. But anyways, guys, it is now 10 o'clock. Been a long day. I am ready to go hit the sack. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down for the night. I appreciate you guys more than you even know. Thank you for coming, hanging out with me tonight, and bringing some sunshine to my day, and a much needed day. Hope you guys all enjoyed it as much as I did. We will be back next Monday with proper audio and video. I promise we got it all figured out. Joe and I both will be on next Monday to talk about the power of why. Hope to see y'all then. Have a great night, guys. Have a great week. See y'all next Monday.